Hey, just wanted to let everybody know before this flashback episode starts about the picture video quality issues, the clarity issues. This hunt was filmed back in 2007, and back then I was filming using the old VHS video film cassettes. I didn't have a digital camera at that time, so you're not going to see the clear, crisp pictures that you're used to seeing. These are going to be a little grainier. And the fact that it was filmed in 2007, the film is already 15 years old, and you know, the film actually breaks down after years. So coupled with that, that'll lead to some clarity issues. I mean, you still can see the video and everything, but you're not going to get that crispness that you're used to seeing on a digital video recording. So, that being said, let's get this Season 3, Episode 3 started. Hi everybody. Because of the slow start to the 2020 season, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on the RO360 crew, as promised, here's a flashback episode to the 2007 turkey season. I figured this would be a good backdrop. The bird you're about to see that I harvest in 2007, this is the mount. I'm shooting this up at my lake cabin. Follow my son Mike and myself during our scouting and prepping and our hunts as we both tag out with virtually identical toms. Check this out.
While waiting for enough light before I could start filming, I listened to some tree gobbles and then heard wing beats as the birds flew down to the ground from their roosting trees. Once on the ground, I could hear occasional gobbling going on as the toms were trying to gather their hens. Finally, enough daylight to start filming, and the vocalization action continued. I peered deeply into the gray, misty morning fog, looking for that hint of red, white, and blue, signifying a tom approaching, while keenly listening for any gobbles, puts, or purrs of a bird moving into the area. I was sitting in a concealed location, in between limbs and branches of a recent downfall tree. After calling out with a soft yelp sequence, out of the gray mist appeared that unmistakable white head. While this turkey is scanning the area looking for the yelping turkey, watch closely as you can see movement in the background of another turkey moving. It was tough to tell if this bird was a hen because of the feather growth up the back of its head, or was it a jake because when it first appeared it had the red, white, and blue head? Or was it a bearded hen? It stuck around quite a while looking for the turkey that made those soft yelps. Not seeing any hen in the area, the Jake started to move off behind some trees and brush out of sight. But it turned around for one last peek just to make sure. And at one point, I thought for sure he made me. This Jake would just not give up looking for the hen that made those yelps almost 15 minutes ago. That kind of persistence is going to get him shot in a few weeks. Reluctantly, he finally started to move off, but kept glancing over to the spot he heard those yelps come from. It's unbelievable how they seem to know the exact spot the sound came from. Wait a minute, he changed directions. Heading off in the opposite direction I thought he was leaving in. Yep, I'm pretty sure that if this Jake doesn't wise up in looking for those hens, he'll never see the summer. After waiting for the birds to move on, I went out to check the area they came in from, going to do a little detective work to get a better understanding of their possible travel route from their roosting site.
Now here was our blind on the corner of Craig's property, the tree that we had set up against, and the thing came down right across the blind. And this morning, where we had heard those gobbles and those birds, here they were. Here's the fresh scratchings from this morning. Right all through here. Right in front of that blind again. Look at that. They're all over. There's another one. Right next to the blind here. So, this is where the birds were this morning. A lot of fresh scratchings here. Here's some more. They had to been roosting someplace down in here in these trees. I'm going to look underneath these big trees, see if they were roosting down around here. In which case, we're going to move the thing anyways. Now that that thing's been destroyed and that tree come down, we're going to have to tear that all apart this afternoon and move it back into here someplace and set up a new blind. There's our one ground blind for turkey right there, and Craig's tree stands right there. Alright, okay, here's our blind over right here, over the crest of that one hill by Craig's tree stand. And here we go. turkey scratchings in here. They've been through here too. These are fresh. These are fresh scratchings. Another one right here. So again, right here's the scratching area where they've been. Right there, and there, and there, and there's our blind right here. So they're around our blinds, that's for sure, and it's fresh. All right. Maybe we'll see them in the woods.
Stopped. Now it's still there.
I don't know if we got them on. They had two turkeys cross the road up here. But we just turned right coming out of Craig's. Already right in here, ain't it?
They went down and they're right there. They're running in the woods over there.
I don't see them.
They're chucking. They're moving.
They're
quick.
going good.
The road. Dad, I'm gonna creep up, follow the line in. I'll get it.
Okay.
There
they are. There's a bunch of them in here running.
Can you even see any of them now?
No, just keep going. Yeah, I can see them moving in the.
Well, that was the first time I saw a flock of turkeys.
There was a bunch of them. I can't see anything. They're all out of here. They must have been trying to feed in here. We're just coming up to that turn, and man, I couldn't get
30, 40 turkeys.
Yeah,
already.
I couldn't get the cameras out fast. There was a bunch of them in these fields out here that we were spooking as we were driving. Some of them were still in the trees roosting along this road, I think. So, all right. We were just walking in a new area out here, and here, a bunch of coyotes. They didn't even bother skinning them.
There's 5 of them.
They just shot them and dumped them back here. 5 of them sitting back here. And we were just going to walk this trail into here and just see if it opens up back in here. This is all public hunting, and then we spotted those. So we're going to check this out a little bit. So we're walking in here.
But they came
off the 90th, and we got one turkey track we found.
From the field. I bet they came.
Could be, but right there. And anyways, we walked down this trail, and this is kind of dense in here, but as you look through in some areas, it looks like it opens up back there. Goes all the way down, and there's a turnaround down at the end, and then it's posted. So all of this is all public hunting, and well, we got some turkey sign. That's a good thing.
Here, so
More tracks where? Two more?
Right there and right there.
Oh yeah, they're kind of faint, but there's one. Another one right there. Cool. We got some turkeys moving through here. This will be another area to come and check out a little closer. We don't have the time today. This is Sunday. We're just checking out new hunting lands, new public hunting lands. And so far, this has been the most promising. We at least saw some turkey tracks. So sometime this fall or maybe this spring, if we get lucky and we bag a bird early, well, I would wait till after turkey hunting. I wouldn't be walking around in here during someone's hunt, but there's definitely another area to check out to hunt. Now this is Craig's zone. This is west of Craig towards Wisconsin Rapids. Plus here is we've got a farmer's field right here. I don't know what gets planted in here, but if it's something that the turkeys would be interested in and they would feed in here, it would be natural that they would move in here for cover and that. So this may be a promising area to check out for the future. Been there for a while.
Still being relatively new at this self-filming of hunts, I was still in the learning stages of filming to tell the whole story of the outdoor adventure. My early filming consisted of shooting some videos or pictures, putting the camera down, picking up the shotgun, shooting, putting the shotgun down, and then filming again. Or not getting a lot of the calling and responses on camera and then talking about it. or taking photos instead of filming. In looking at the video footage and pictures to put this episode together, well, it's choppy at best. So please bear with me as I filled in some important details with voiceovers to try to smooth out the story. Now, let's get this flashback hunt started. I was set up in the blind by 5:20 a.m. Heard the first roost gobble at 5:30. In 10 minutes, there had to have been 6 to 8 gobblers on the roost behind me to the east. But I was sitting in the back-to-back blind facing west. I did have some gobbling out to the west, but it was well off in the distance. Now it's decision time. Do I try to move to the other side of the blind to face east? And as you can see from this picture, I'd have to stand up, get my gear, walk around the blind, and get into the east-facing side. The turkey's eagle eyes might spot my movement on the ground, and my hunt would then be busted before it really began. No, my only hope is that I can call them into range from the west-facing blind. I decided to use my Jake gobble call to try to create the illusion that a Jake has roosted here by me. Then I changed to hen calls, soft puts and purrs, hoping to attract the dominant tom to chase off the Jake and have the hen to himself. All the gobblers respond to my Jake gobble call. I gobble back, trying to mimic their intensity, light soft gobbling at first, then louder. Then changing to hen calls, all the gobblers are very interested as the gobbles cut off my hen yelps and purrs. I turn sideways in the blind to look backward to the east. By the sound of their gobbling, I can tell they're on the ground and moving in my direction. The only problem now is the birds' attitudes. They're not gobbling to cut off the hen calls. They don't gobble until the hen calling stops, and sometimes it seems like an eternity till I hear the gobble response. It's now 6:15 a.m. The gobbling is less intense and moving away from me. The birds are leaving. After my last hen call, there's no response and they go silent.
Well, we had a lot of gobbling this morning off in this direction. Had to been at least a half a dozen or more gobblers, and they were coming in close. But since the sun came up a little more and it got a little lighter, they moved off away from me. They wouldn't come in. And it's starting to get quiet in the woods now. I also had distant gobblers off in this direction, but they were way out. But hopefully they'll remember that there was a hen in here. They may come back in this area late this morning. That's how I took the bird a couple of years ago, right in the same area. It's 6:30, and I just had a gobbler answer my box call right in this area. You can see how heavily wooded it is. I can't see him yet, but he's maybe 100 yards out.
I'm still looking but can't see him, as he is coming in through some thick brush and tightly grouped trees. As I listen quietly, I hear the distinct sound of the tom's spit and drum. It's a sound they emit as they start to strut. I know he's close, but I still can't see him. I'm looking intently, and his white and blue head pops out against the dull-colored background.
As the tom disappears behind the tree, I realize this is my opportunity. I quickly but quietly put down the camera and bring up my shotgun. He takes a few more steps in. At about 30 to 35 yards now, I take a deep breath and exhale as I sight in the beads and slowly squeeze the trigger.
Oh, we dropped them. Oh, look at me, I'm just shaking. We got a bird. There he is. It's 6:40. We got ourselves a bird.
I waited a few minutes in the blind, as I always do after a kill. I say a little prayer thanking God for the opportunity, only through His grace that allows me to hunt, and that it was through His hand He provided me with this wild harvest to grace my table. I also reflect on the taking of life, the cycle that every living thing on this planet has in common, birth and death. In no way do I treat this special moment with a cavalier attitude. It is a most reverent time, church-like in the outdoor cathedral of nature that God has provided for us.
There's the sun coming up, my blind. And there's my bird. Well, this is where we were sitting. Right in here. This is Mike's side of the blind over here. Right here. Kind of set up a double blind. There was a lot of gobbling down in this area. Had to have been 6, 7, or 8 of them. And they were in kind of close. I couldn't see them. You can see how thick this is. They could have been maybe 75 yards out or so. But this one, he kept coming around and kept gobbling out in this area, responding to my yelps. And then he came in, walked around through here, came right into this open area right here. That was perfect. A little over a 30-yard shot. Look at this, I'm still shaking. Nice bird. Not too long of a beard. I don't know, I'll have to measure it, but not a real long beard. Nice hooks on him. Not quite an inch. Still a nice bird. All right. Got a bird. Okay, we weighed the bird and we're just posing for some pictures. Weighed her at 19 pounds 5 ounces, so it's a decent size. Not as big as my other one. Spur length is 7/8 of an inch, with about the longest strand is 9 inches, but the majority of the beard is like 8 3/4. So, you know, 8 3/4, 9-inch beard, 7/8 of an inch on the spurs, and 19 pounds 5 ounces. So, and again, we set up in that double blind that we had. Mike and I came up in March and we set up that new blind. And I was facing west. Mike's blind is, we're back to back. He's facing kind of east, northeast, and I'm facing west, northwest. And early this morning, I got in there about 20 after 5, and by 5:30, there had been 6 to 8 gobblers gobbling behind me, like straight out from Mike in the northeast direction, and they're gobbling on the roost. And then west of me, but way, way out in the distance, there was maybe 1 or 2. I could hear some distant gobbles. And that went on for quite a while, probably 20 minutes. And I used my Jake gobbler and I gobbled like I was a gobbler on the roost, thinking that those birds, if they hear a gobbler and a hen, they may come in to chase off that Jake or that other gobbler that's in their territory to get to the hens. So I did that for a while and came back with my slate call and did some putts and purrs and then I used that plastic bag, like I was scratching in the leaves. And every once in a while, then I take the yelper or not the yelper, but the box call, and give a couple of yelps, and they would respond. But then they just moved off; they wouldn't come in. And I thought, now I'm going to have to sit and wait it out till late morning and hope one of those birds comes back in, looking for that hen that was there this morning. So I waited for a while, and I just did some light puts and purrs on my slate call, and every 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes, I do a couple of real raspy yelps on the box call. And all of a sudden, I heard this one gobble. He had been one of those 6 to 8 birds that I had heard on the roost earlier, and he was coming in from my right. That would be the north, coming in from the north, and it's kind of heavily wooded and a thick underbrush, and actually, I didn't hear him gobble. I mean, when he gobbled, he was like maybe 80 to 100 yards out. But I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I heard that spit and drum where they go, boom. I heard that, and I thought, well, where the heck is he? He's got to be close. So I'm kind of really concentrating, trying to look in between the trees. All of a sudden I saw that red, white, and blue head. Oh, there he is. I thought, he's not going to come out in the open. He's going to just kind of strut and spit and drum right there, expect the hen to come to him, and I'm not going to get a shot. So I said, I grabbed the camera, and I figured I might as well shoot some videotape of him. So I got some good videotape. And then as I'm videotaping him, he keeps coming in like he's going to come out into that open area in front of me. And I'm thinking, well, how am I going to put the camera down and get the gun now? You know, he's probably only 50 yards away from me, looking in my direction, looking for that hen that he heard. And he was walking, and I videotaped as he got behind a tree. I quick put the camera down, closed it up, grabbed the gun, got the gun up before he came out from behind the tree. As he came out from behind the tree, couldn't have been within a minute or two, he started clucking a little louder. He stuck his head up, and it was that cluck, cluck, cluck. And I was able to take a decent shot, and I dropped him at about 30, 35 yards. So about 20 minutes to 7 this morning. Nice bird. Nice bird. So I'm happy. Now I got to work on getting Mike his. Mike got here late last night. He was sleeping. He didn't get up here till 2 in the morning, so he was sleeping in. So hopefully tomorrow morning or late this afternoon we can get Mike a bird, go home with a doubler. That would be really nice. Plus we bought extra tags for the last week of the hunt in May, which I think is the 3rd week in May. So maybe we get a freezer full of turkeys for Thanksgiving and this summer. It would be kind of neat. So. All right, that's it. Good start to the spring hunt.
After tagging the bird, getting back to camp, and taking the bird to the registration station, we took the vital measurements and posed for some pictures. After a dinner to celebrate at a local supper club that included a few celebratory drinks, we kept the Rapant nickel and dime poker tradition alive. Mike bested me by a 50 or 60 cent margin. I hope his luck continues tomorrow on his turkey hunt. After settling in the blind around 5:20 a.m., we started the calling out with a Jake gobble call, same as we did yesterday, letting the other turkeys in the area know that another gobbler is roosting in the area. We had an immediate response, finding out we had multiple birds roosting close by for the 2nd day in a row. It was clear by now, listening to the gobbling, that the birds were on the ground and on the move. Even though we had more gobbling around us as compared to yesterday, the result was the same. Once the toms were on the ground, they lost interest in our area and began moving off, without us hearing any hen puts, purrs, or yelps. They must have had a visual of the hens while up on the roost, then flew down in their direction. So the hens didn't need to call out their location. The toms already knew it. After using my box call for some raspy hen yelping, we just had a few gobbling responses back, and those birds were slowly moving. The only problem was they were coming in from the west, and Mike was in the blind facing east. When I was sure they were headed in our general direction, I told Mike, "You need to move to my west-facing blind position, and I'll move about 20 to 30 yards behind to the east and call from there." I know this tactic cost Mike a bird last year because I moved too many times and the bird saw me and hightailed it away. But I assured him this would work, but we had to move right now before the toms got any closer. We made the switch, and the birds were none the wiser.
Mike is in the blind. I moved out of the blind because we had some gobblers coming in from that direction. And I'm calling from back here. Hopefully they'll come in closer to Mike and he'll get a shot. They're gobbling from all over, but I can't see him yet.
I continue to call from my new position outside the blind, using mostly puts and purrs, followed once in a while with loud, excited, raspy hen-like yelps. The toms are still interested. They were responding back with gobbles and slowly moving towards us. Sometimes they would cut off my yelps with their intense gobbling. These birds are really interested. I decided to make one last move so that the calling wasn't continuously coming from the same spot. This way the toms would think the hen is slowly moving away, and they would keep following and move closer to the blind. I hoped that this one last move would bring them into Mike's gun range. I continued to call, and the toms were still cutting off my raspy yelping with their gobbling. They are still all fired up. This would be great, having Mike's first turkey harvest on film. As I'm zoomed in on Mike in the blind, I can see him intensely watching out from the blind. I see Mike glance back at me and point to show that he sees the toms are coming in. I pan away towards the direction he pointed out, and I scan the woods. but I can't pick them up on the video. I pan back to Mike. He is still intensely watching in the same direction. Then I hear thunderous gobbling close. I pan back, but I can't pick up the toms on the camera. It turns out that I set myself up in a little gully. I can see the blind with Mike, but I can't see the birds. I had panned back in on Mike, looking to see if he had his shotgun up and aimed, because I had no idea how far the toms were away from him and no idea how many were coming in. I turned back towards the gobbling, hoping that they would walk over the crest of the ridge and appear on camera, but no luck. I set the camera down, still filming, and did a raspy yelp sequence on the box call. My intent was to draw them in a little closer for Mike. The gobble responses this time were milder and in a more hushed tone. I panned back to Mike to see his shotgun up and aiming in the direction of the toms. Upon seeing this, I immediately panned back to the turkeys, trying to get them on video. But still could not pick them up over the ridgeline. Panning back to Mike, I saw the shotgun still up and poised in the firing position. Then a loud thunderous gobble, and I knew they were closer. Again, panning back quickly, hoping to have the birds walk into frame. Multiple gobbles, but still no bird on camera. I panned back to Mike, wondering what was going on. His shotgun was still up and in the firing position. Not being able to see the birds, I had no idea of what was going on. Then, as I pan back towards the birds, I hear the shotgun blast. I saw the two birds explode up into the air, and I focused on the one coming in my direction. As it went down, I'm figuring it's a turkey that Mike shot. But as I pan back to Mike, I find him turning away from me and looking back in the direction of where the turkeys were when he shot. Boy, was I confused. Just wait till Mike tells you about the excitement next.
Okay, we're taping. We just paced this shot off from the blind here, and I'm going to try to get down here and give you an idea what he shot through. He shot right through all of this stuff at 50 yards and dropped this bird.
Yeah, it's a good shot. But no, I saw him coming up. There's three jakes, or three tabs. And then Dad's down there calling, and I'm pointing. I tried to go 3 times so he could catch that there was 3, and he didn't. And he didn't see the birds at all. And then I saw him come over, and Dad called one last time where they had to have been 70, between the 50 and 70 yards, because I could see them, and the last time you called. Then they came in a little bit closer, not much closer, and then they just stopped and they kept staring, and they were dead, all 3, right next to each other, 1, 2, 3, and they were all poofed. I saw the beards on the chest. I didn't see it sideways. I saw it, on their chest, and then they're staring right at me. I'm like, yeah, then the assholes aren't going to turn their head at all and watch, because they know. Nope, they sat there stiff like that. Then, I don't know what it was, that other gobble from, where was that?
That was off in that direction. Yeah, you're pointing the right direction. They were competing.
That gobble came in, and then they couldn't find you, basically. So then they started taking off, and I said, oh, hell no. And I had the BBs lined up for the, the 2 dots, and I had it on my knee, and I'm like, I just was waiting for them to get a little closer, and I said, and they started pulling away, and I said, oh, hell no, this is my chance, and Dad's not messing up this time. And I did it. I took it.
So.
It was, but I mean, I didn't know my cutoff for range, really.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just didn't want the bird to fly away thinking, I was pounding my
That was pretty good, because when we target shoot, we shoot a maximum of 40 yards when we set up our targets, just to practice.
When I turned the choke on my gun to a turkey choke?
Yeah.
I was at 50
yards,
hitting them dead on. So
it was a good shot. But anyways, when he fired at one of the 3, one flew right over the top of them, and the other one I got on, go ahead.
I didn't know that I hit one, period. I thought, oh shit, my shot went off with no man's land, I got no freaking birds, I got pissed. So I started to get my gun ready, because the other one was just, the other 2 were just dumbfounded, didn't know which way to run. The other one started zigzagging through all these trees, coming right at me. And I'm like, oh, I tried to get the gun, because I didn't see the other bird down yet, because I was like in a awe still. So the other bird comes up and just takes off, like, literally, Dad. It was like right here and took off right over me. Like,
he's running towards you and took off.
There's a turkey.
Well,
and the other bird got done. He got blasted from the blood to the head of this one, because they were.
Yeah, but
they were close to each other. Yeah. But I had a clear shot of that one.
Yeah.
Needless to say, the other bird was dumbfounded and started taking off and started flying and smacked into a tree. And then fell down, and I'm like going, oh, I got 2 birds, and I'm going, Dad, what do I do now? But luckily, the other one just got stunned, from hitting the tree, it fell. Because I'm like, and then we started going over there to check on him, first of all, after he hit the tree and fell down. And he's standing up, and I'm going, somebody else has got a decoy over there. And I'm going, oh no, that's that bird, it's standing up, it's not dead. And then about 5-10 minutes it took off. It smacked right dead into a tree.
Yeah, that's the one I got on video. If I see the birds explode in the air, and I get that one on tape coming towards me, that was right where I was calling. So I videotaped the thing hitting a tree and falling down.
Oh, you did have that on
video? I got that one on videotape flying away. So quite an experience for your first bird, huh?
Yeah, my hands are freezing.
All right, we're done. We've both taken nice birds. There's the blinds. We got to break those down, get those away, get this bird in, get it cleaned, and our spring hunt's done. We can head home.
We measured. Oh my God, the wing cut or the butt. How much was the weight again? 19 pounds 11 ounces, and then the spurs were 7/8, and the beard was 10.5 inches.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go get them registered.
I gotta run in the house to get my car keys.
I'll go get them. You can put them in.
I have my wallet.
I'll go get it. First bird.
Yeah, I might have blood on the car.
Yeah. Okay, let's go get them registered.
Thanks for joining us on this special RO360 flashback episode. It was Mike's very first turkey harvest and had us harvesting almost identical toms. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos and my channel. A big thank you for that. Now feel free to comment below, or if you don't want your comments available in the public eye, we can also be reached at rapantoutdoors360@gmail.com. And if you know a friend you think may enjoy this video series, please feel free to share this with him or share our link. And always, whether you fish or hunt, make sure you practice CCR. Catch, conserve, replenish. Make sure that there are resources available for future generations. We'll see you all next time.